let's get things started.
Sure.
I received a couple of questions. Actually, I'm surprised that this topic is so well received. I think especially during this period of time.
For sure, for sure. Let's try to hit on the road. I'm not saying should I introduce myself? How do you want to go with this?
Yeah. Can you please share with our audience like who you are, what you do, and things like that?
Sure. So, hi guys. Hopefully I'm seeing the screen right now.
Yes.
So I don't look cross-eyed right now. So hi, my name is Andrew. Something about myself is currently I'm working in a non-profit organization. I work as a associate psychologist or counselor / therapist. Just basically many names.
Yep.
One job altogether, which is just to work with people with mental health, or even to do a lot of coaching, a lot of development, personal development as well. So I've been doing this for quite an X amount of years, unprofessionally, professionally about the past 4 years. So that's something about me. So I'm very passionate about mental health, very passionate about exercising. I don't think the double chin is actually helping me with that right now. Going to blame it on the circuit breaker, but yeah. So that's what I do. And I'm here to answer questions on mental health today.
Right, I think it'd be interesting to share with them like how we even met in the first place, right? Yeah, like we met through Instagram because Andrew was kind enough. He was intrigued with what I was doing. I was doing I was at the point of time I just started Calibrate Your Inner GPS, and that caught his attention because he's a gentleman with a lot of qualifications, a lot of experience on his belt. Whereas I'm on the other hand, right, just a young boy, extremely passionate on this craziest mission. So that got him interested. He reached out to me and said, hey, let's meet up. And through, I think the past maybe at least 6 months of knowing each other, we met 3-4 times, and he's been dropping so much bomb, giving me a lot of good stuff, and asking him, would he be kind enough to give that to my audience? And that's why, and that's the reason for this session. So let's get into it. I received at least 8 questions as of now. If you guys have any question, feel free to ask us inside the chat box. So the first thing I personally want to ask, right? Actually, what's mental wellness or what's mental health?
Sure. First of all, I'm going to try my best. To answer as much as I can. Sure. But if you guys feel like you need more clarification, just hit either one of us up, and then we see how it goes. So I'm seeing a lot of comments. Okay. Oh, there's people joining. Oh, that's my friends. So hey guys, hi. Don't follow me in front of my friend here. Don't follow me in front of my friend. So what is mental health? I take it as another form of health, right? So what I mean by that is, now the concept of physical health is very important, very well documented right now. Physical health means like you go and see a doctor if you have flu symptoms, sickness, chest pain, knee injury, leg injury, any form of injury. There's an issue, you go to the doctor kind of diagnose what's the issue and then help you with it, right? So that's a lot to do with physical health. Now, mental health has a lot to do with things that cannot be seen, but is very much real, like physical health. Now, such as what? Stress, such as, self-identity, such as how you actually build relationship with people, secure relationships, etc., etc. If you want to look at it a bit more deeper, then you talk about a little bit more like clinical work. Clinical work will look like mental health disorders such as schizophrenia, clinical depression, yada, yada. We go on from there. So what is really about when it comes to mental health is talking about actually how are you functioning well, right? So that means your physical body is how you function physically, right? Your physiology. Mental health is how you are functioning mentally. And are you coping well? Are you functioning well as one should be functioning?
Nice. Super insightful. I'm just wondering, why is this important?
Good question. Why is this important? I think mental health is very important because it's something like you can't see it, but it's very real, right? So what happens is that if you look at the history of how even mental health came about, right? Or even let's use the word psychology, how psychology came about. The term they used last time is called psychologos, which is the study of the human soul. That's how they came about with it, but they realized they can't really... Human soul. Human soul. Yep. So that's what they wanted to kind of really start off with, but then they realized that, hey, you can't really figure out what's the human soul, what's the next best thing to do with it. They're trying to figure out how the mind works, and how the importance of it. So a lot of time we have a lot of philosophers talking about how the mind works, etc. Because you want to find out to unpack it, and it's not like amazing movies about it, like how the brain works, yada yada blah blah. But what we realize from all of this is that there is so much more to us than our physical body. You can actually know of so many people, famous. Let's talk about famous people. One of my favorite person was Chester from Linkin Park, right? So it was an absolute shocker for me when I found that he passed away. And he passed away due to depression, and he kind of killed himself in depression. And that's the thing, one of the main, it's a very extreme reason, a very extreme example, but it really shows why mental health is important. Because if you look at someone like Chester, this guy is popular, right?
Yeah.
This guy is rich. This guy has everything going on. Like, we look at him and we're like, man, I want to be like Chester.
True.
But he has been fighting his own inner demons the whole time.
Yeah.
He has been fighting issues that is not reconciled with, things that has not come to terms with, and a lot of things that needs to be worked on. And what's the thing, when these things do not get worked on, it actually becomes an issue. And sometimes the last stage of this issue actually becomes suicide. So again, I bring the parallel in terms of a physical health. So let's say if you have a cut right now in your hand, and if you don't deal with that cut, it becomes infectious, and then it spreads, and it spreads, and it spreads, and it spreads until it becomes a lot more serious.
Right.
Same concept with mental health. When we are having certain issues in our life and we're unable to cope effectively, what happens is then it kind of spreads around to not only that one relationship in our life, to all the different relationships in our life.
I like that. I like how you draw the link super easily with regards to physical health and mental health.
Yeah.
I want to ask, because I'm someone that is always hard on self-awareness. That's why we always have such conversations, right?
Yeah.
How would you link self-awareness and mental health? How would you link them? Are they even closely related?
So self-awareness is one component of mental health, but mental health is just like a huge spectrum itself. But self-awareness is the key component, right? Why is that so? Because the idea to actually have knowing who you are. Seeing some people texting. No worries, thank you. Yeah, thank you. So one of the things is that you got to really know who you are and what you do. You see, a lot of time, self-awareness is not necessarily a bad thing, right? Because what's happening is you're having an idea of the things that you do, the things that does not work in your life, the relationship that does, the relationship doesn't. So it really is very, very important. So as a therapist myself, one of the things I look out for when I'm working with my clients is, does this person have good insight of themselves?
Right. Does this person
have good insight of themselves? I think that's a great question you can always ask, to ourselves right now, whoever's watching this video, do you have good insight to yourself? And another question people might ask me then is, what does it mean to have good insight to yourself?
Yeah.
So I would start off having good insight to yourself, meaning that are you able to know what works in your life? Are you able to know what makes you happy? What are your strengths? And what are the things that you also need to kind of put a bit more work in your life? So the ability to know that, I think is very important.
True.
Yeah. So it's to answer your question, it is a key component.
Right. So would you say that I'm just trying to piece things up together, right? So would you say that if someone who is not self-aware, he wouldn't even realize that, oh shit, I need mental health kind of help, like mental wellness kind of thing. Right. So the fundamental of them realizing it still boils back down to self-awareness.
I think it's one of the fundamentals, not the only, but it's definitely one of the fundamentals. Knowing that, actually having the awareness that, hey, there are things that's happening in my life right now, and it seems like I'm not able to cope with it as good as I want to.
Right.
What's happening?
Yeah.
I'm able to take a step back, or am I then being very, no, it's okay, I'm not going to focus about it.
Understood, clear. It's just some of my questions that I have in my head, because the last time we had this conversation, I didn't even realize that mental health is a serious issue. Because some of my even some of my relatives, right, they were like, psychiatrists, there's this bad stigma to that. I am not crazy. I wouldn't want to go and see a psychiatrist or therapist.
That's right.
Things like that. So I just want to understand where is it at, So I received one interesting question. which I myself want to find out as well. How to self-love. How to self-love. Which I believe a lot of my audiences who are very driven or want more in life, right, they would feel and resonate with the same thing. How to self-love.
Yeah. I think sometimes it's, you know, let's go down to basics of what is self-love, right? Obviously, it's 2 words. You want to break down the 2 words. It's pretty in your face, right? So self is like, you know, talking about yourself individually. Love is actually, there's many different versions of it, many different explanation. I would just say love in terms of how do you like maybe care for yourself.
Yep.
Because when you love something, you tend to care for it. You tend to be tender towards it, right? You don't tend to be very like aggressive towards it. You tend to be like, hey, you know, like, I love you, versus like, oh, I love you, right? So what happens when you look at the concept of self-love is how do we then tend to care and be tender to ourselves? So let's use a basis right now. Let's use the 5 love languages as a basis, right? So what happens is that, you know, some people definitely need, for self-love, some people definitely need time with themselves.
Yep.
Some people would maybe need someone doing something for them. You know, that could be the act of service. Some people definitely sometimes just need someone to just give them a hug, in that sense. But when we talk about self-love as well, how that would translate is that even, I mean, you can't just be hugging yourself here, right?
I did that, no.
Was that effective?
No. Sometimes I'll just do this to myself, you know, like a little kid.
Yeah, so that is a good way of it, actually. So that's what we call our self-soothing.
Right, self-soothing. Yeah, I did that.
That's right. So actually, who does that is sometimes babies.
Yeah.
Right? Actually, babies, you know, tap either themselves or they get someone to tap to them because it suits them, right? So that is something that is physiologically that we have seen and we grew up with that. So that's why if you see sometimes people are scared to go like, oh.
Yeah. So that's what I do. Correct. I'm like, Daryl, well done. You did well today. Because my love language number 1 is self-love. You know, like I mean, like physical touch. That's how I self-love. So what they say, like hugging yourself, interesting. Yeah. That's what I'll do. No, I'll just hug myself or give myself a pat on my back. Then my second is word of affirmation. So I'll say, I love you, Daryl. So it comes to the package. But sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So on my end,
definitely.
You know,
definitely. Oh, Trina. Hey, Trina. So Trina's a friend of mine. So yeah, so I think definitely the concept of you know, like maybe even like petting yourself, that's a great way to start off. But even I think it's okay to even just get some of your loved ones, you know, someone you feel close to, like, hey, you know, can I just get a hug? Even though the other person is giving that hug to you, the fact that you initiated it, right?
Deep breathing.
Yes. Yeah. So thanks, Trina, for that. So the fact that even you initiated it, that's also very important as well.
True.
So deep breathing, like what Trina talks here, is a lot to do with like meditation as well, and it's a lot to do with you know, bringing one's anxiety down and being centered. Yeah. So that's also one way to go about doing it. So actually, there's many different forms of, like, when you want to talk about self-love. I usually try to break it down for our audience. We can talk about either 5 love languages, or if you want to break it down even more simpler, I would just say do what works for you.
What makes you happy, right?
Exactly. Do what works for you and what makes you happy. Some days when things get crazy, I'll be honest, when I heard the news about we're going to be extended for 1 more week, the first thing I did is I went to NTUC to go and buy Ben & Jerry's.
Well done.
I see people buying like rice, vegetables and all, and the decided is like, man, I need my Ben & Jerry's right now.
Yeah, that's
right.
That's a clear example of self-love.
That's right. You know what? I need chocolate. I need some ice cream to just make myself feel a bit like, all right.
Yeah. That's true.
We got this. So, but I know, like, for other people, like sometimes self-love could be them spending a bit of money and buying some technology. Some of them going to movies alone. There's just so many different examples. Like, I'll be interested to find out like some of your self-love. That's self-love. Thank you. Yes, someone is supporting Ben & Jerry's. Yes, I'm always down for that.
Like for myself, right? I don't know if you guys can see it. Like, there's this beanbag at the back. Yeah. So I bought it, right, to encourage myself to read. So that's like my reading corner.
Oh.
So first step. That was my very first step of self-love. Like, I would never ever spend $100+, right, to reward myself. I can pay that kind of money for someone else. So when I actually did that, it felt amazing. So I'm just sharing from my own perspective, because
Yeah.
If you can see that little board at the back, right, the word in green, it wrote, I've written down, self-love is my main focus in 2020. But I don't know how. Yeah, so literally whatever you just said, right, I have tried some of the strategies and tactics. It worked. And I really highly encourage you guys to try like meditation, like rewarding yourself. I think that's a very good start.
Yeah. But of course, doing it in a way that is, beneficial for you and not harming anyone else, not going cray-cray on anyone, but and not harming your body as well. Because I know some people would say, like, oh my God, my version of self-love is drinking every night until I pass out drunk. I'll be like, like maybe you can dial that back a bit. Maybe you can have like a drink,
Right.
So, yeah.
So let's
everything in moderation.
Let's move on to the next question, which is pretty interesting. Coming from a gentleman, he said, how to overcome the desire of having someone in your life, which means that the person want a partner, but he want to overcome that desire. But anyway, you have a question, right? It's my way of I can't do it now. Yeah. Shit.
Yeah, no, I know. I like both of us like just tilting our head right now.
No choice now for to repurpose it on YouTube.
Sure, no worries.
Elijah, is it Elijah? Yeah, feel free to ask the question. We will answer it later. I'll just take notes of the question. Just ask us. But anyway, go back to that question, right? So how do you overcome the desire of having someone in your life? Like you want it, but you're afraid that it's a distraction or some sort. Do you have clients or whoever asking such stuff,
That's a very interesting question. So to whoever's asking that, firstly, thank you for asking. Because I think it's quite brave to even ask that question. So I appreciate you for that. How do you overcome someone you're trying to? I think. So I'm assuming that right now this becomes a bit more like Dr. Phil love relationship right now, but we can try.
Yeah.
But it seems like to me that obviously then you both are not working out, right? So it definitely does seem like you both are not working out. So I think it's to kind of bring things to perspective as well, right? So you got to understand that firstly, our emotions are very, very strong. Our emotions are one of the most powerful factors in the whole world that can drive us to do things. So I feel that we definitely want to give respect to that emotion. And sometimes when we don't get what we want, one of the emotions that we feel very strong is a sense of lost, right? So what that means is, like, I really want to get something, I didn't get it, I'm feeling grief, I'm feeling lost about it. And I think it's okay to actually allow that. So the thing about loss, the sense of like sadness and grief and loss, the problem is a lot of time we don't give time to actually sit in that emotion. And the reason is because it makes you feel very uncomfortable, right? It's not a good place to be at. It's not an easy place. I wouldn't say it's a good place. It's not an easy place to be at. A place where you just keep on feeling like crappy and all. So I think the fact that you got to give yourself some time to actually be in that emotion, and then be like, a lot of times you could have a what if questions, and like, oh, things could have worked out, etc., yada yada, blah blah blah. But also to go back to the factor that let's talk about facts, because we know our emotion is strong. We give time to be the emotion, but let's go to the facts. What does the fact say? There are reasons why it didn't work out.
Yeah.
So we want to give time for emotion, but we also, once we've given enough time, now the term enough time varies from people to people. Once we feel we have enough time to actually listen to a different perspective. So enough time does not mean I'm totally over it. Yeah. Sometimes it takes years. That's from personal experience for me, actually. But it's not about taking to be totally over it, but it's to be over enough to hear a different perspective.
Interesting. So what I'm hearing, right, is that number one, right, you have to give yourself enough time to process the emotion. Number two, look for facts. Number three, look for perspective. Then you look for solution. I guess even myself, I have to admit, I'm always too quick to solving something, which you highly which you expose me of that. That's my character. That's my character. I always connect the dots.
How about I use the term I shed some light into it?
Right, you shed some light, right? So I think that is something that a lot of the audience here can take away with, which is giving some time to acknowledge the emotion that you're experiencing. That part I can do well. looking for perspective, I can do well, but instead of giving myself 4 weeks, for example, I'll take 1 day or maybe 2 days max. Done. Then I'll say that, hey, I'm done with the process. Then next thing, it will hunt me again, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's, I think...
No worries. But if I can just cut in there, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Even the way you, like, we kind of like help me break it down, right, into like the 4 steps. But that's the thing. It's not like it goes step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. You can go to step 1, then suddenly you can jump to step 3, might go to step 2, and then step 4, and then step 1 again. It's such a seesaw thing, right? It just goes up and down, it goes back and forth, and because we're humans, we're complex.
Yep.
We don't have something that is very structured. Neither we want structure, but our emotions do not go in a structured manner.
Nice.
So hence, we need to give ourselves that space and time to go back and forth.
Get it.
We got to think of it not from a perspective of, am I completely over it? But we have to think from a perspective of, am I dealing with this better than how I dealt with it the day before?
I like
or
that.
Even weeks before. So then we can see improvements versus like, wow, one big jump. Sometimes the jump is huge.
Correct. Right, we have another question. So
yeah,
maybe you want to read that out?
I can't just see the question. Oh dear. There we go. Wait, acknowledging the emotion is definitely. Wait, where is the question?
All the way at the bottom.
Okay. Oh dear.
So
is it the?
Yeah. So honestly, I love people around me, and being a blessing to them. But sometimes I feel like I lose self-love over time, like losing energy and self-drive. Sometimes like that. Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So it seems like what is being asked is,
this person love himself, love being a blessing to people, but lose self-love lah. Like in the summary is that he gives energy to people, but he lack the energy himself. Something like that.
Yeah. That's a very interesting question. Is that from Elijah? Elijah, thank you, Elijah, for asking that. That's a very interesting question, Elijah. I think one of the things I would say is you can't pour out what you don't have.
Yeah.
Right? So it's very hard to fill another person's cup when your own cup is empty or half filled. So I think it's so important to always remember the rule that when we take the airplanes, right? Which is before you save someone else, get that oxygen mask in yourself. So it's that same concept we're talking here, where before we want to showcase the love to someone else, before we want to showcase that something, like the care for someone else, make sure we are well taken care of. And in the process of helping others, if we feel like, hey, I don't think I'm doing very well, it's okay to take a step back.
Yep.
Because you matter as well, Elijah, and to whoever is listening, you matter as well. And how you are dealing with life, how you're walking through life, like it's only one of you, and it's so important, so you matter as well.
The reason why I laughed earlier when you were giving advice, right? Because it sounds so familiar. It sounds so familiar. I reached out to you with the same issue. So for Elijah, don't feel that you are the only one that's facing that. I think it's a very normal thing. For people, I'm a people lover, right? I love people.
Yeah.
Definitely I'll experience that as well. So it's part and parcel of your process. Even I myself take 3 steps back, cut off from giving people, taking on a lot of responsibilities.
Yeah.
This period has been amazing for myself. Which is aligned to the next question actually. One of my followers asked me, right, Daryl, can you share with us how you overcome low feeling, stress and sadness? Because on this page, DMYK, I'm doing my very best to document my journey. The good side, bad side, I will show you guys, right? Definitely, I would like to highlight more positive stuff. When there's negative, usually I will internalize first, share with you how I solve them, then I will showcase that, right? So I wouldn't say that this place is an outlet for me to vent sadness. It's not. Usually when I'm stressed or low feeling, I'll find friends like Andrew, get his perspective. Yeah, correct. Because you must surround yourself with smarter people. That's the truth. And the second thing, right, is that I will find like books, right, to see whether do they share wisdom enough that is good enough to solve my current problems that I'm facing. That's like my first thing. I will always find books first. Second thing is find friends. Then if not, third, like what Andrew mentioned earlier, find what makes me happy. So if I may share with you guys, right, I have this paper, is inside. I call it the happy list. I took time to write out a list of stuff, right, that can make me really happy.
Nice.
So before this session, right, I was playing music, like chilling on my beanbag for a good 20 minutes and just be happy. Like that's how easy life is. If you were to really take this advice and just run away with it. If I may even share, right, at this point, there was this point of time I didn't know what was happiness. This is my own perspective and from the books that I read, right. Happiness, there's two types. One is the long-term happiness, which is a purpose and meaning in life, a goal to chase after. The other one is short-term pleasures of happiness. I think that was the biggest thing that helped me with all these low feelings.
Yeah.
Anything that you want to add on to this topic?
That's pretty wow. There's a lot to unpackage right there. You just say like, whoa, that's a lot. I was like, whoa, don't take my job. But I think definitely to kind of like reiterate some of the things that you said as well. How do you overcome for this viewer or follower of yours who asked you how do you overcome sadness? I think sadly a lot of times when people, and I think this is not the only one, so whoever you are, don't feel like you're the only one. I've like all of my clients come and ask me, they'll be like, how do I overcome it? And sometimes I wish I can tell them, do this, this, and this, bam. I really to them. But if I do that, I will be the richest man on Singapore, I mean, even on earth right now. But sadly, I'm not, right? So I think it doesn't work that way. I think it really comes from the perspective of like, oh, what's this? Okay, never mind. It comes from a perspective of more like actually, instead, I would want to focus on, instead of like, how do I overcome sadness, feeling, and all of that, I want to flip that question around and ask, actually, what makes you happy? I would want to start maybe focusing a bit more on that. Actually, what makes you happy? What are the things that you do that makes you happy? Or what things that happens around you that makes you happy? And if it's possible, how can we recreate that?
Okay, makes sense. So that's
right.
aligned to my happiness list.
Right. So why is that important? Because if you really want to find out, like example, this person is feeling like sadness and frustration and loneliness for a huge period of time. That is become an issue, right? It becomes like a mental health issue. That's when I would say maybe if you want, you can approach me or you can approach like other therapists out there to see how we can work this out. But if you're looking at it from a daily perspective, that means like, you're just going through a bad day and etc. blah, blah, blah. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be, frustrated. It's okay to sometimes feel a bit lonely as well. Like we're humans, we're going to feel this anyway. But again, we give ourselves some time, but then I will always want to ask myself, actually, what does make me happy as well? So like for me right now, if I want to make it something that's very relevant, the COVID situation, one of the things I always tell on my Instagram is this, right? I would not even want to use the word social distance. I'd rather use the word physical distance. Because socially, I'm still trying to be connected with people. I'm being away physically from them, but socially, emotionally, via technology, we're still trying to be connected. So does that mean, am I still feeling a bit crappy and lonely at times? Yeah, for sure. Like I miss my friends, I miss hanging out with my date or etc. blah, blah, blah. But one of the things that I do then is I ask myself, actually, what makes me happy when I hang out with them? It's the conversations that we have.
Right.
Then I ask myself, now how can I recreate this conversation? I'm not able to see them face to face, but can I recreate this conversation by actually even, video calling them, texting? Yeah, so I think that's something that helps. I see some questions.
I like how you unpackage the why do you even like hanging out with them. So that goes back to self-awareness again, right? Because you are aware that it's the conversation that makes you happy. So that's something that you can take away with, right? So the next question is from Jenny. How to be not overthinking and try to stay positive, because sometimes it really kills me inside because of my mind, right?
Okay. How to be not overthinking and stay positive. Jenny, if I may answer, I think there's no way anyone can stay positive 24/7, to be honest. Even us as therapists, like we like people think, oh my god, you guys got like everything covered because you guys are like working with people. You guys are meant to be the most positive people on earth. Talk to my friends; they will tell you something else altogether. Like they'd be like, no, this guy, no. Like the thing is, you can't be positive all the time, because there are going to be times where it's just going to wreck you. Life is just going to throw, things at you, and you're just going to feel terrible. How to stop overthinking? I think that's a good question. I think I have this thing called the traffic light rules, and it's something that I always help out with my own clients as well. So think of it as the red, the amber, and the green, right? What it will look like is this. Whenever I'm thinking of a situation and I can't really seem to make sense out of it, or if I'm like thinking, I'm like, wow, festering my time on this situation again and again and again, one of the things I do is I'll go with the red light, and I ask the red light would be this: what is the worst thing that could happen? Right? So the red light means like stop, right? So it's like, what's the worst thing that could happen? Then I just give myself the time, like, wow, like, life is going to be terrible. Things are not going to work out. I'm going to be sucky. I'm going to be lonely. I'll never find true love. Blah, 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 blah. Whatever the situation may be. Then I go to the green light, which is, what is the best thing that could happen in this situation? Then I list down like all the positive things. I'm like, oh yeah, actually things will turn around. I'll be like, famous or rich, or I could do whatever I want to do. And then I'll go back to these orange, amber, whatever color you want to call it, right? And then I'll ask, which is, what is the most likely thing to happen? And then I list that down. And once I list that down, I give myself some time to just go through that. And for me, I don't know how for you guys, but for me, I actually feel a lot more assured after doing that. Because what happens is when I do the red, I give myself the ability to let that overthinking mind of mine actually just come out. Just list it all down. Like, But then I go to the green light to talk about what are some of the best things that could happen. What are your hopes? What are your dreams? What are your future? Which is so important. And I give that some time to jot it down as well. And then when I go back to the orange amber light, that's when I come back to reality. Now that I know that this is the worst that could happen, and now that I know that this is the best that could happen, what does in between look like?
Yep. Most possible. I think if there's if there's one biggest takeaway, that would be it. Like the traffic light rule, super powerful the way you simplify it. And that's something that I'll practice as well. If I catch myself overthinking stuff.
Yeah.
Would you say that might help with procrastinating as well? Maybe. Worst case, best case, and start doing it.
With procrastination, the procrastination is a bit more different because I procrastinate myself. That's why.
Right.
So, like, I would think with procrastination, a lot of time is, it's just different motivation, right? Like, we have all this famous saying, right? Whenever we do a group project, there's always going to be the kanchung spider one, do everything. Then it's going to be the slacker one, and it's going to be the person who does the last minute, right? So different people have different motivation to do what we want to do. So I think when it comes to procrastination, it's a lot more of like, actually, what is your pulling factor? Why do you want to do what you want to do? And how much of a pull does it has? Because actually sometimes the pulling factor does wean off over time. Like you may feel very excited about it, but after a while you're just like, I'm so done with it. Yeah. So, that's why you have like good days and bad days. That's fine. It's not a bad thing. But it's just that we don't want to keep on be like 100% all the time. But neither do we want to be like, well, I can do it tomorrow, I can do it tomorrow. So like there must come a point at one time where you have to be like, okay, you know what? Maybe doing this assignment, or maybe doing this video, or maybe reading this book, or maybe doing my job has a certain value to me. That if I was to procrastinate any more longer than I already have, it's going to affect me as a person and the quality of work that I do. And am I okay with it? Yeah. And sometimes you realize that maybe you're not. That's when you know what? Then I'm going to stop procrastinating, man.
Yeah, maybe. We feel okay with it. I guess at the end of the day, we need to really ask ourselves with everything that we do, investigate, are we really okay with this action? Are we okay with having this thought? Like there are days where you cheat day, for example, or when you compromise your integrity. Am I really okay with this?
Yeah.
Are you really okay with it?
I think humans don't need to be perfect all the time.
Yeah.
But I also don't want any one of us to live a substandard life either.
Yeah.
Right. So you don't want to be like Mr. Perfect, because that's like managing expectation too high. But neither you want to give an excuse for every day of your life as well, because that's not living life.
True.
But I think it's understanding the concept of living life goes up and down, and it's learning to ride that wave actually.
I got last two questions on my end.
Sure.
This one sounds pretty serious. They said, what can I do if my parents are toxic and biased against me?
Okay. See some questions there. Yeah. Okay. What can I do if my parents are toxic and biased towards me? Oof, that's a very, very tough question. So I think this is where we talk about self-love. I think self-love actually becomes a huge factor here right now. I think it's a combination of still being like there for your parents if they need you. You know, like we want to still respect them, but I think it's also making sure you are protecting yourself. So I think there's balance here. Think of it like a weighing scale. You don't want to totally disregard your parents unless it's something really terrible has happened, because we do not know what has happened in this situation. So I'm doing a lot of assumption here. So the person who's listening to this, I'm so sorry. I'm based on the assumption that, you know, things are still pretty okay. If it's not, hit me up. We can always talk about it. What I would say is that just not only parents, but even in any relationship in your life, if that is a relationship that is very important to you, or there's a relationship, I think it's always important to voice it out to that person. Right? So if your parents are toxic and biased, I think it's so important that they need to hear that. I think the way we say it is also very important. You do not want to, you know, if they're like shouting at you and making you feel crappy and bad, I don't think you would want to also do that way back to them. Only reason why is because you already know how that feels.
Yeah.
So would you want that person to feel that same way? So I think that is something that we want to kind of like avoid. But I think once we actually speak to that person and we hope for things to change, but if things do not change, one of the things then we do is we need to learn to love ourselves at the point of time. From a place of where we ask ourselves, like, actually, then, you know, if I can't get this love and support from, let's say, even if it's your parents and things are not changing, then what can I do to find other support groups that are outside from home? Right? And this is something, because I used to work with youth quite a lot. And this is a very common theme for a lot of my youth clients last time, where a lot of them couldn't find love, care, support. They find toxic relationships. And that's why sometimes they actually go to their friends. And, you know, a lot of them get the term called delinquent youth.
Yep.
Right? But sometimes I ask them, actually, it's not really delinquent because they're just seeking for something. They're seeking for a sense of care, a sense of belonging. Yeah. And if they're not going to get it at home, obviously they're going to go out somewhere else and get it. Either way, they're going to get it. Right? It's just a matter of where they're going to get it from. And the person is whom they're going to get it from, what type of values do those person have? Or people have, sorry. So I think it's important then to, number one, to really articulate to your parents about it. But number two, work for that change with your parents. And most of the time, you know, from my experience, when you tell your parents how you feel and they're willing to work with them, they are willing to work back with you in return. This is like, you know, some level of like experience that I've also like seen from other people's life. But if it comes to a point where you have expressed to them and you want to work with them and it's still not working, then I think it's so important to keep that boundary, draw that boundary where you respect them as parents, but you then know that you need to take care of yourself as well.
Yeah. And lastly, you mentioned support group, like people who are genuinely there to help you.
Yeah, so choose your friends wisely, right? I think a lot of time we run to the first person who's willing to hear our issues, which is not a bad thing, but I think it's just want to make sure that we choose our friends wisely, because whatever we want to share is important, but whatever they share back to us is equally as important. And if they're going to share good stuff, they're going to build us up. But if they're going to share not so good advice, that's actually how we're going to grow up with.
Right. Last question, which I think is the most important question, right? What's the threshold to seek professional psychiatric help or therapy help versus self-treating? What's the threshold?
Okay, great question.
Yeah.
Right. I would go back. This is where I'm going to bring back to the physiological example. Right. What's the threshold between me seeing a doctor when I sprain an ankle versus me just not seeing it and doing that physio by myself. It depends on functionality, right? Which means, am I able to walk after a while, or has the pain increased so much that I cannot even bear any weight on that leg? So flip side, if I am going through something that is unbearable in my life, you know, if I have a bad day and I'm feeling very sad, I'm crying over it, I just don't want to talk to anyone, that's fine, because you had a bad day. Something bad has happened. Maybe someone passed away, or, you know, like you lost something, or you did not get what you want. You know, there's just so many different reasons for it, and that's fine. But if this persists over time, you're talking about like more than 6 months, more than 2 months even, more than 3 months, more than 6 months, and you find that it's affecting the way you function. That means you're unable to go to a job, or like to your work, to your school. But even if you go to, you're not behaving the way you usually would. It means you're not being the student that you want to be. You're not producing the work that you want to be. You're not being there with your friends. And if this is persisting over a long time, that's when you know you should go and see someone.
Nice. I like how you summarize it very well. I think personally, my biggest takeaway was the traffic light. that was something valuable to myself.
Yeah.
And the second thing was how you link this physical health and mental health so nicely. Like the walking case, right? When you sprain your ankle and things like that. So hopefully the audience here has gained some value. If you have anything, feel free to DM Andrew. He's more than happy to answer your questions. Yeah, I connect with him. Anyway, sup Calvester, sorry, just now he was sharing. And hi guys, the 8 of you who's still here.
Sure, like I'm not sure if anybody else have any question, but go for it.
Any last question before we wrap up? And for those of you who missed, I'll be repurposing this on YouTube, so that's fine.
Do you have any question yourself, Daryl? Like, how do you feel about you know, let's talk about a hot topic right now. 5 p.m. we had our Prime Minister talking to us about extending circuit breaker from 2 weeks to now it's going to be 8 weeks. How do you feel about that?
Personally, I was in some sense emotionless to it. You know. Really, I kind of got used to that 14 days worth of wake up, eat, work, sleep, work. You know, like I got used to that routine, but it's not something that I'm very comfortable with. I hate routines. But yeah, nah. So I guess it's the fact that I didn't have any expectations to begin with.
Yeah.
Yep, that helped me so that I wasn't really very disappointed. But of course, the loss in terms of like connecting with my friends, with dates, workmates, colleagues, yeah, it didn't feel good. But overall, I guess like what you say, like how you deal with it. So it gave me more time so that I can work on my projects. Like you see the whiteboard. So yeah, a lot of strategy, a lot of execution this period. So at least there's something that I'm working towards now.
Yeah, for sure. If you don't mind me, let me share how I felt. I felt crappy, to be honest. I was talking to my client. She's having bipolar, so I was talking to her. And then I knew that this was happening at 5, so I was like, okay, you know, we overshot the session. I was talking to her. At 5:10, my phone did not ring. Exactly at 5:15, I think that's when he announced at the 15-minute mark. And my phone went berserk. Like, all messages, blah, 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 blah. And then it's like, oh, it's extended to 1st June, extended to 1st June. And I was like, okay, telling myself, I cannot. I need to focus on my client first, right? So I just focus on my client. And once I put down, I was just like laughing in disbelief. I think I already knew it's going to be extended, but I think the idea of like, this is bad because, like, you know, a lot of things again, like, because the 2 weeks is not easy for everyone. Like, some of the things I realized was this, not every home is safe.
Yep.
Right? Not every home is safe. That does not mean that everyone needs to have a psychotic dad or manipulative mom. It's just not that. Doesn't need to go that extreme. It's not Hollywood. But just sometimes a lot of people may not feel belong in their homes. And what happens is because of that, the idea of staying in that home for an extended period of time makes them feel really, really disconnected. So one of the things that I've learned very early on in my practice was this: a house may not necessarily be a home. right? So a lot of them will live in houses, HDB house, whatever house, but may not feel home, because home is a sense of feeling, a sense of belonging, and not everyone feels that. And when they actually go through that, that becomes very hard for them. Over the weekend, I was volunteering in the National Care Hotline. It's a 24/7 service that all therapists are out there providing, volunteering. And I had multiple calls, people who are teenagers, people who are old, telling like, can this circuit breaker be over? I don't want to be staying at home. I can't stand this. You know, like some of them are having mental health issues already, like schizo, depression. Some of them are just ordinary people like us, but they're saying like, if I was to stay anymore, I'm going to go crazy. And we were like giving like, practical advice on what we can do, etc., blah, blah, blah. But it's not easy. It really isn't. So even for me, like, I feel like I'm going to be disconnected with my friends even more. Or like, I love to go to the gym, but I can't go to the gym right now. Or, so there's a lot of adapting that takes place. Another thing I realized was also the fact that a lot of us, one way that we wanted to learn to adapt is to come up with a lot of goals. I mean, no offense, there's nothing wrong with it. It's good. But again, it depends on whether you can handle it.
Yep.
Now, just because you can't handle it doesn't mean you're any weaker. But we need to understand that what we're going through right now is a pandemic. This is a real issue, and everyone is coping with it differently. Some people are trying to cope with it through, by the idea of like making up goals and working towards it. But some people just really need the time to be like, you know what? I don't think I can do anything for the time being. I just need to calm down. And I think that's okay as well, because it's so important to give ourselves that time to know that, okay, this is something that's tough. I'm going to take a breather, then I'm going to start working on myself. So I was talking to a buddy of mine just now over the phone, and he told me like, dude, you know what? From what's happening right now, maybe what I can do is maybe basically just do 20, 30 minutes of work, because that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I said, do you think that's going to help you achieve your goals? I was like, coming from that perspective. And then he was like, maybe no, but it's good enough to at least kickstart.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's true. Because sometimes certain seasons you're meant to thrive, but certain seasons you're just meant to survive. And that's okay, because once you're able to survive, then you can think about thriving. But if you're not even able to survive, how can you even think about thriving?
Yeah.
So all this stuff,
yeah, I think the key takeaway is at your own pace. Don't be pressured by whatever the rest or the others are doing. Find time to be comfortable with how you're feeling, what you're actually thinking, and progress from there.
Yeah. Because that can be a very toxic culture itself, the culture of productivity. Like, I have to be productivity. I have to be, like productive, and I have to like hit 100%. I don't know. Not that easy.
Yeah, that's something that I'm always guilty of, and you always have been reminding me. So, thank you for that. Really, really. Because
no worries.
Man, I always feel fire need to get grounded. So yeah, guys. So quick tip: get yourself people to cover your blind spot. Like, get yourself good friends, right? To always see and expose your weaknesses. That's how you can be aware. That's how you can be aware of what are your things that you have to make up for, lah. And I'm very glad to have this guy as a friend. Really, he's been a giver since day one.
No worries.
So always pace yourself before thriving. Yeah, man. Thank you so much for doing it.
No worries.
Appreciate your time, guys. Hopefully you gain value from this. Give a thumbs up if you are still here.
I'm just trying to see all the other questions.
Yeah, this is Andrew's first time, doing this IG live.
Yeah.
He has done an amazing job.
Hey, man. Yeah. I mean, if people are keen, we can always do more of this. Come out with different topics and
Oh, people are still coming in. Hi, Angel. Right. Thank you guys for appreciating it. So any last question for Andrew? Last question for us? If not, we wrap up the night and have a good rest.
Yeah.
Same for you guys. Rest up.
Just looking at this anymore. Oops.
Right. I guess
all's
good. All's good.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah, man. Let the world see what Andrew is all about.
and more, yeah.
So
thank you, Daryl. Thank you so much for your time.
No worries.
Exciting to start this off, and let's see how we can continue whatever topics people have as well.
Yeah. Is there a master group for this? there isn't that we're not like planning anything for this. It's just really he was just sharing me about the COVID situation, right? There's a lot of people that's not having a safe environment. Then I was thinking that like yeah, that is super true. And because all the while I talk about personal development, but I never talk about like mental health. So I was thinking maybe you guys, you know, might gain value from this insightful sharing of his. That was why we thought of this. So if we receive a lot of DMs coming in saying that, hey, you know, we might create a group for that. But
Yeah,
if not,
definitely.
feel free to reach out to Andrew. He is really a very, very nice guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you feel like this is beneficial, sorry?
No, nothing. I just want to sum up this time.
Yeah. If you guys think this is beneficial, let us know. We are more than willing to see how we can make this work for you guys. Yeah.
So have a good night, guys. See you all soon.
All right.
Knowing yourself is part of mental health. Oh, yeah, that's for sure. It starts self-awareness. Good night.
All right. Take care, buddy.
Bye-bye. Really, people need to know about this. Yeah, keeping sane. Definitely. So
all right, good night, guys.
Do you guys do share your insights with new friends as well? I mean, with your friends as well. All right.
See y'all. Bye.
Bye.